This is 1 year ago today. If you're new here, the channel's pretty self-explanatory. I explain what happened 1 year ago today. The topics of the day are top news story headlines, daily holidays, some history from a bit more than 1 year ago today, and the COVID-19 topic. Now, I don't want to be one of those channels that takes forever on the intro, so we are starting right now. 1 year ago today, the top news story headline. But first, we're going to start off on a positive note with movies, specifically Parasite. It won the Oscar for Best Movie of the Year, breaking a world record while it did this. It broke the world record for first movie to win the Oscar Best Movie of the Year that's not in English. I have a challenge for all of you guys. Try and break your own family world records or beat your own world records. It'll feel good and it'll be a time to celebrate. Like the quote I always like to use, beat my best. The next top headline was about an old woman infected with COVID-19. Her family was helping her to make sure she didn't get too sick, but as you may remember from the article published a while ago, the entire family got sick, which was kind of unfortunate, but I guess we were just getting started there. After all, we have so many COVID-19 cases right now, unfortunately. Do you remember when all this stuff was today? Like I already said, not only 1 year ago today. Anyways, the next piece of news was reported by the New York Times. It was about the Iowa caucus. The Democrat Party was a fiasco. People were all over the place and trying to decide who to vote for. While on the other hand, the Republicans was pretty clear, 90-something% Trump, and the rest not Trump. Now, like I've already said, you always have to let us know down in the comments if you can remember when all of this stuff was actually today and not 1 year ago today. But that's enough because it's time for the daily holidays, which I'm pretty sure you might either like it or not like it, depending on how much you like the rain. Today, there is only one daily holiday, National Umbrella Day. Someone once said, if you want to see a rainbow, well, you've got to put up with the rain. A lot of us think about rain as a bad thing, all dark, gloomy, cold, and wet. But we have to take a step back and say, it's not as bad as it could be. Imagine life without umbrellas in the rain. You could use your raincoat, but an umbrella is still a better option. Umbrellas keep us drier, and that's why we always use them. The umbrella was invented in the 10th century, so it comes to no surprise that there's a national holiday dedicated to the umbrellas. And I know that an umbrella cannot be watching, but good job, umbrellas. That was it. That's the only daily holiday today. Yep, that's it. Nothing more. Only the daily holiday for the umbrella. That's it. Okay, so I want to get the big British topic out of the way because we've talked about that a lot, so let's do that right now. In 1716, James III, the Old Pretender, returned to France. Now, you may be thinking, who is James III and why was he in France? Well, to answer that question, we need to go back to King Henry VIII. As many of you know, he changed England's national religion from being Catholic to Protestant. This caused a little bit of trouble when the crowns of England and Scotland were in a union. As we talked about in yesterday's video, the King of Scotland also became the King of England in 1603. The problem with this is that some Scottish kings were Catholic. This was the case for King James II of England and the 7th of Scotland's son. Usually, males would be the first in line for throne, but since James III was a Catholic, they had to bend some rules. The crown, instead, went to Queen Mary and King William III, and then Queen Anne, who united the British Isles. When she died without an heir, the monarchs from Hanover and Germany became the kings. When James III went to France, because he hated England at the time, he caused a bit of trouble, a stir from France, and even invaded the United Kingdom, but these invasions failed and he was forced to go back to France. Fun fact, the British anthem, God Save the Queen, or My Country 'Tis of Three for the Americans, was written in France because King Louis XIV ordered that a song be made when James III took the throne. The original melody was from Louis XIV's hemorrhoids surgery, which he survives, the painful surgery in your butt area, and he was able to survive it in the 18th century. Well, here's another story about Napoleon. I feel like we're repeating over and again. Fine, Napoleon won the Battle of Camperhart beating the Russians in 1814. But remember, kids, the Russians still beat Napoleon, regardless of what happened. Okay, well, I got that out of my system. Let's continue. Simon Bolivar, former president of Colombia, was named a dictator by Congress in Peru in 1824. In 1915, President Woodrow Wilson warned Germany that they would be accountable for the endangerment or loss of U.S. citizens' lives. This is why the U.S. entered World War I after sinking of the RMS Lusitania through a British ship. It had lots of Americans on board when it sank from a German U-boat. On the topic of World War I, Leon Trotsky, a communist from Lenin, announced that they would leave World War I in 1918. Well, why did they leave in the first place? Joseph Stalin fought against Germany in World War II. Well, to start, we need to talk about the Russian Empire. When it was founded in 1721, it was a force to be reckoned with. Under the great leadership of Peter the Great, they waged war on Poland and Sweden. They ripped Sweden's status as a great empire, and they took Poland completely. Part of it was Germany too. More emperors and empress came by, like Empress Elizabeth and Emperor Paul. However, towards the end of the 19th century, Russia was falling behind with the rest of Europe, but they had not been industrializing and giving people rights. The emperors held all the power, and this caused a stir. However, one emperor, Alexander II, wanted to get his country on the right track. He released his people from serfdom, which meant their landlords owned them, but they failed to lift them out of poverty. Regardless of his efforts, he was still blown up by his citizens. Since he was gone, his son, Emperor III, thought as the father of reforms and weakened the empire's authority, Since there's a lot of minorities in Russia, he repressed anyone who thought having an emperor was bad. However, he died and his son Nicholas II ascended the throne unprepared. He made some bad decisions during his reign, and when World War I broke out, he decided to go on the front lines instead of getting a real military leader to do so. Russia was broke, so they ran out of food and supplies quickly, and this led to moral plummeting. What's even worse about World War I wasn't much like a war, but more like a family feud. How, you ask? Well, remember they were fighting against the German monarchy, whose Kaiser Wilhelm II was related to Nicholas II. How Queen Victoria's son married the Danish princess, and Alexander III did the same. This made them brothers-in-law, and Queen Victoria's eldest daughter married Kaiser Frederick III. Therefore, there is another monarch related to them. The son that was married to the Danish princess was Edward VII, father of George V. So, yeah, George V, Wilhelm II, and Nicholas II are all related to Queen Victoria. George V and Nicholas II were on the Allied side, while Wilhelm II was on the enemy side. Alright, back to the story. Eventually, Nicholas II abdicated and was replaced by a republic, but they didn't want to leave the war. However, the Russian Civil War was breaking out. There were across two sides, the White Emperor-loving army and Communist Red Army. The Red Army won, and Lenin and his buddies wanted to leave the war so they could focus on other things. So Leon Trotsky announced that he would be leaving the war. Since there's not a lot of interesting birthdays today, let's move on to the COVID-19 topic. This is what COVID-19 looked like 1 year ago today. First, the cases, then the death toll. 1 year ago today, the world gained 2,996 new COVID-19 cases, bumping up their total to 40,554. The United States gained 1 new COVID-19 case, bumping up their total to 13. India gained 0 new COVID-19 cases, bumping up their total to 3. Before we continue to Brazil, I want to know, do you guys hear me breathing in? Because I just suck in air and then speak really loudly so that you guys can hear me perfectly to try and make it fine like I just did. Brazil gained 0 new COVID-19 cases and had a total of 0. Russia gained 0 and had a total of 2. The United Kingdom gained 0 cases, having a total of 14. France gained 0 new COVID-19 cases, keeping their total at 11. Turkey gained 0 cases, keeping their total at 0. Italy gained 0 COVID-19 cases, keeping their total at 0 as well. Spain gained 0 cases despite having a total of 2. Germany gained 0 COVID-19 cases, keeping their total at 14. Colombia gained 0 COVID-19 cases, having a total of 0. Argentina, 0 cases, 0 total. Mexico gained 0 cases, keeping their total at 0. Canada gained 0 cases, but had a total of 7. Australia, 0 cases, had a total of 15. Israel gained 0 cases and had a total of 0. Now, here are some of the countries that we haven't really done much in previous videos. Hong Kong gained 6 new COVID-19 cases, bumping up their total to 42. Malaysia gained 1 COVID-19 case, bumping their total up to 18. Singapore gained 2 COVID-19 cases, bumping up their total to 45. Japan gained 65 new COVID-19 cases, which I think is the most out of the countries that we've researched so far up until this point, and had a total of 135. The United Arab Emirates gained 8 COVID-19 cases, or had a total of 8, my bad. Now, the death toll. The world gained 97 new COVID-19 related deaths, bumping up their total to 910. Now, I'm going to be honest, the rest of the countries just had 0 new deaths, having a total of 0. They didn't really gain any deaths for quite a bit until like maybe March 1st or something. I'm not quite sure. But in order to keep up to my promise of the 1 year ago to date channel, I think I'll still have to go through it. So we're going to do this really quickly. The United States, 0-0. India, 0-0. Brazil, 0-0. Russia, 0-0. The United Kingdom, 0-0. Now, I bet that you're probably tired of me saying 0 by now. So maybe I shouldn't even say anything while I go through it, but I guess it'll be kind of weird. I mean, I could always put in music, but we're almost done, so we'll be fine. There we go, we finished. Now the conclusion. Almost goodbye. Maybe I'll tell you goodbye in the conclusion. I'm not quite sure yet. I record things in different sections, which is why I'm always not sure what I'll do. And it also just depends on my speech. And I do always slowly reveal stuff to you in some of my videos, which is why you are going to be forced to subscribe. I mean, no one's really going to force you, but you should still do it. And I'm not going to say it. But that's for the conclusion, so never mind. Leave it for the conclusion. This is the conclusion of the video. It's kind of boring, so you could click off if you want to. But there is one more thing I'd like to say. There isn't really any reason for you to like this video. Like usually, I'll say, please like the video to show your support for Bob Marley because it was his birthday or whatnot. But really, this video, there's not really anything because umbrellas are not our best invention. They're pretty good, but it's just not the best thing. So I'm going to ask you, will you do it for me? Just for me? Leave this video a like and share it with your friends. That's it. Only for me, nobody else. Not to show your support for anything, but only for me. Please. Well, anyways, I always have to end it the same way. So, goodbye. It's the goodbye emoji. Yes, that is always how I'm going to end it. And no, it's never going to change. Maybe it'll change one time, but otherwise, it will never change. So, you should probably start and try to get used to it. But I like it. And of course, we have to end with a subscribe button. But I'm not going to say to subscribe because I feel like if I did, then a lot of you guys just wouldn't subscribe. So I'm not going to say it, but you should still do it. And this is how I will always end the video, like I just said.